Welcome to another episode of the Nourishing Africa podcast. Today we have Majekodunmi, the founder and CEO of Nuts About Cakes Lagos. She will be speaking about how she is leveraging technology, particularly social media, to increase her brand visibility. Hello Nike, thank you for joining us today. Please may you introduce your brand, Nuts About Cakes.
Okay, so thank you for having me on. So my company, Nuts About Cakes, it's a bakery. We specialize in cakes, pastries, and bread. We also have a training school at 2 of our locations, and we have a cafe as well at 2 of our locations. We have currently started doing some expansion as well into Lagos. Currently we have 7 locations in Lagos, and we have grown to a team of 140 employees from just a one-woman cottage business from her kitchen. So that's Nuts About Cakes in a nutshell.
Great. Can you tell us what branding means to Nuts About Cakes?
Branding is so important to us. I think when I started out, it wasn't as important. I felt as long as I put my cookies in a bag, I've branded it. But going forward, especially with a lot of entrance into the baking space in Nigeria, it's become a lot more important to differentiate yourself, to be intentional about being seen differently, whether it's the colors, whether it's the offerings, whether it's the mode of delivery, etc. So that's all formed part of our branding. In the past, we literally, the name Nuts About Cakes alone is something that is unique and is not something that you hear often. It's a bit of a tongue twister at times, but I think it helps for people to remember that, oh, I've heard nuts and cakes or cakes and nuts or something like that, and at least they know it's you. And that's been deliberate. We thought about changing the name at one point, but we said let's leave it, and I think it's paid off, and we've had the name now for over 10 years, so that's been good to have. And then also in terms of our packaging and the logo, it's a fun company. We believe that whatever we do here is always for a celebration, be it a birthday or an anniversary or a wedding. So we keep it fun, we keep it colorful, we keep it exciting. I think we have about 5 different colors in our logo. And then also our packaging, it's a striking orange. We want you to see it from wherever. So our cake boxes are orange. We want you to see it from across the room and know that it is Nuts About Cakes. And so we play on different things like that, and we just try and stay a young, fun company.
Great, thank you. Can you tell us how Nuts About Cakes have been able to make significant changes using technology?
Okay, so when I started the business, there was no Instagram, and so we had to pick up. And there was Facebook, but there was no Instagram, which is a lot more widely used nowadays. So we're very present on Instagram. We currently have about 54,000 followers on there, and we also have a Facebook page, Twitter, and we basically use that to get a lot of visibility, to connect, especially with the pictures and the videos of what we do. We use these social media mediums not just to push out the products, but to also inform the customers or consumers of what the company does. So you might see a video on some of the successes that we've had. You might see us training people. You might see our collaboration with some other non-profit organizations, and so it gives you a sort of a total view of what our company is about, as opposed to us just posting pictures of the products alone.
Great. So building on that and narrowing it down to branding, do you think technology has helped you in increasing your brand visibility?
Yes, absolutely. We also have a YouTube channel, and I think keeping in the theme of being a young and fun company, we have a staff dance video on YouTube, just to show that we don't take ourselves too seriously. Also, we have a reality show as well, and that was mainly done to stand out from the markets, to be honest, and to show the difference between us and other bakeries out there, to show the back office, to show the hygiene, to show how important it is for us to keep our environment clean, to show the processes that exist, the operating procedures, to show how we also talk to customers, how we make deliveries, and just getting people to buy into our story and what it is that we're doing. So definitely it's played a huge part in our branding, the picture, the image that we want to portray as well.
That's great. Do you think technology has influenced your branding strategy? Would you agree on that?
Yes, absolutely. We try and infuse every aspect of our business with technology because, it's modern age. To be honest, if you're not somewhat technically inclined, then you're moving behind the times because there's newer things coming up every single day. I mean, if you talk about social media alone, I mentioned the basic ones of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube. And there are other ones that, my staff members who are quite young, who are much younger than me, are introducing me to, and I've never heard of it. Now they're talking about TikTok and all sorts of other things that we should be getting on. And so it's definitely important to have technology. I mean, for us, when it comes to making our processes easier, we have used a lot of technology in all variety of the functions that we have here, be it sales or accounting or marketing or people in terms of communications, in terms of documentation, etc. So we are always trying to make things easier with our operations with technology.
Have you in any way made technology enhancements more personal in terms of creating opportunities for face-to-face interactions aimed at strengthening your customer loyalty?
Yes. So one of the things that we started doing is tagging customers. And this is mainly for Instagram. We know people are a lot more social than they used to be in the past and more open to being social. So we take pictures of customers, well, if they agree, in the stores, and then you find a lot of customers saying, tag me, like when you post it, tag me, this is my Instagram handle. So obviously that also helps them to repost or put it on their story, and it creates a little bit of fun and excitement. And that is also attached to the brand, which is great for us as well. And it just makes makes that customer a little bit more sort of, I guess, loyal to us, because they want to be associated with the brand if they want us to tag them on our social media platform.
In your opinion, do you think increasing your brand visibility has any influence on your profitability?
Yes and no. So it has influence definitely on revenues. Now, profit is a whole different ballgame because you have to make sure that your operational expenses and your cost of goods and all the other business little items are taken care of. But definitely in terms of revenues, the more visible we are, they say if you shake a tree long enough, something falls out. So the more visible you are, basically, the more returns you get. And I'll give you a perfect example. So on our Instagram pages, we have a lot of bakers who follow us. And we realize that bakers are not trying to buy from another bakery. So we spent a lot of money recently on some other marketing campaigns on Instagram, on promotions. And we partnered with Obiwizi. And we bought a very expensive mobile phone, and we put it out there and said, tag us, like us, comments, and then somebody gets chosen at random. And that added over 3,000 new followers within 4 days. And they were all non-bakers. So definitely, the more investment one makes in marketing through social media has generated. But I mean, that week was actually a very good week in terms of revenues because people reposted and retagged, and this was besides those who followed us. So it definitely got our name more out there, and we had a good week that week in terms of sales.
That's great. Thank you. Can you recommend ways food businesses can leverage technology to increase their brand visibility?
I think definitely again back to marketing and just pushing, making sure that you're constantly in the forefront, making sure that your content is always fresh. I think one thing is, if you're doing sort of Monday motivation, Tuesday motivation, Wednesday, that can get a bit stale. So keeping it fresh with new content, and the content doesn't necessarily have to be just about your product, but people always want to learn. So if you have something where you're educating people or you're teaching them about something that might impact their lives or their businesses, then that is definitely a plus. And you can push that out through a variety of social media that's out there right now, including some of the new ones, depending on your target market, if they are on those platforms. But then also, I mean, people always tend to forget that WhatsApp, it's actually also technology, as basic as it sounds. For us, we have, I don't know how many countless WhatsApp groups here because we're constantly trying to communicate. I mean, I have one for accounts and finance. We have one for procurement. We have one for the general staff. We have one for the management team, and we have one for the unit. And we use WhatsApp a lot, and it's a great way to communicate, and because people are also sharing ideas on that. And in terms of ideas of, oh, this is a new style that I saw, and it could just be, maybe my decorator in Surulere that sends it and says, so somebody said this. And so that's really been great in us listening to our staff, as well as getting information from the outside world or from our customers and putting it there to try and see how that can improve our operations and sales. So definitely one can use technology to enhance brand visibility.
So thank you very much for your time, Nika.
Okay, thank you very
Wish
much.
you the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Nourishing Africa podcast. Until next time, bye-bye.